Okay. We are live. Well, hi, Miss Julie. Good morning.
Good morning.
She's like, am I on? Yes? No?
I'm looking at an email that came at the exact moment that you said good morning.
How are you? I know you're in the midst of moving, and you
Yeah.
said your house, like what?
Well, hi, Miss Julie. Good morning.
Oh, look, I'm listening to us. Hold on.
She's like,
Okay.
am I on? Yes? No?
Wait. Okay, sorry about that. We popped on my phone all of a sudden. I'm in the middle of moving, and it's a chaotic disaster. So I have this tiny nook that I can sit in. I have
Find a corner?
pretty much my chairs are already gone. I don't have a lot of lamps, and everything is a mess. So here I am. This is it.
Yay! Well, hello everybody. Zafzan and Julie Avellino here. We are on the final show of our live content bootcamp live video series. Why the heck do we do this, Julie?
Because it's fun. No.
Because we like to test our limits. No. Actually, for all of you who've been watching our show.
Oh, I think it's not muted on our side.
Somebody on a video is watching on the phone or tablet, and the audio is picking up.
So our guest needs to.
Oh yeah. So our guest needs to mute. Just mute your end of things.
Okay.
Yeah. There
Perfect.
You go. Perfect. Anyways, guys, this is our last show, and time's up, and we're just going to go into our intro and have a little bit more of an open-end discussion, but we do have a guest because there's a significant relevance to why we're bringing her on today. It's got a lot to do with her fear of doing live, and she has a great story, and she's all the way from Alabama. So we're gonna bring her on a little bit more, but let us just get going with our intro, and we'll come back. Julie and I will come back. See you in a bit.
Yes, no.
And we are back, Miss Julie.
Good morning again.
The power of video. Anyways, good morning, everybody. Zan and Julie Avellino here. We are your hosts here at Live Content Bootcamp Live because we love to do it. Just like Julie was saying earlier. So, Julie, I know you're in the midst of moving.
Yes.
And this is, you must be saying, like, thank you. This is the last video production that I have to do before this Friday because it is going to be our event week.
Yes. I think my life lesson is that ideas that are born in March as a realtor need to not have due dates in the spring market when I'm also moving. That's my life lesson, but that's all right. It's all good.
We all learn as we go along, right? That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So guys, today we're going to talk about, and I know I mentioned in the post, if you're on Facebook, all right, the post was Ask Zeph and Julie about Live Content Bootcamp, which is happening this Friday in Connecticut, in Orange, Connecticut. So we have a few people coming in from New York, so that's going to be interesting. But here's the thing, folks. The reason we did this, so if you're wondering where that is, right up here, that information, that's the link right here. So you also have that link in the post. If you're watching this on YouTube Live or also on Periscope, welcome to our live broadcast called Live Content Bootcamp Live with Zeph and Julie. Today we wanted to do this last broadcast before we have the event on Friday. But you know what? Who do we have, Julie, behind the scenes? We don't have her on screen yet.
We have our super secret guest who's going to share something so powerful, I don't even know what it is yet.
It'll just have that aha moment, and I bet we'll have a little bit of an aha moment in a bit today. So the reason we want to do this, so people ask us, Julie, like why we do the live broadcast, why we're doing the event on Friday. So in case for some of you who do not know this, our event, our bootcamp is called Live Content Strategies Bootcamp for speakers and presenters. Because in this day and age, everybody comes on, my live broadcast and they ask this question, like, what is live video content? Like, what is live content? What's the difference? So that's part of the conversation that I will be bringing on to the training day. I'm going to let Julie share a little bit about what she will be bringing on. I'll give you 3 things that I'll be teaching on event day, just to give you a snippet of or a taste of what's coming. Julie, what are you focusing on this Friday? Because I know Doreen is here. So before you do that, let me quickly say hello, Doreen, and hello to everybody who's on the live chat. If you don't say hello, we don't know who you are. So drop a comment, let us know you're here, because you know how Facebook works, or Periscope or YouTube Live. Unless you put a comment, I really don't know who you are. So say hello in the comments. Good morning, Doreen. Thank you for joining us on live chat. So Julie, tell us a little bit about what you're bringing on Friday.
So for my part of the boot camp, I really want to bring to our students, if you will, a mix of not only my storytelling when I speak, but a hands-on approach. So what we're going to be doing is developing not only their branding and what their kind of business goals are as speakers and presenters, but who their audience goals are. I want them to understand the types of messages and live content that will draw them in and that will encourage sharing amongst an audience that will help further their own business goals. So what I want to do during my part of the day is really get a lot of insight developed in the folks that are there in the room, hands-on, not just with taking notes, but with some, kind of creative ways, and also kind of get an idea of how they can develop their own calendar of content without feeling overwhelmed. Because once you understand what your message is and what your ideal audience is, you can start to marry the two and create a content calendar that doesn't feel overwhelming and burdensome. It'll flow much more naturally, and it'll allow itself to kind of grow, I think of like a spoke or a hub. So we'll go through all of that. And then getting comfortable in front of the camera. I talked about the little black dot with one of our guests as well. So all that. Learning to love the little black dot. Yeah.
I'm glad, Julie, you were bringing that, because our guest today had that issue when she first started with that black dot in front of her. So we'll bring her on in a minute, but I just want to quickly say hello to Aini Gani, who's watching from Malaysia, and Jason Franco. Jason, I called him James Franco last week in one of my live broadcasts. I was thinking of James Franco. For some reason, the name Jay and Franco. I'm like, Jason, I'm so sorry, but I called him James Franco. So that's awesome anyways. Jason actually works in the streaming video production industry too, so he goes like, that's okay. Anyways, just wanted to share with everybody a little bit. So I guess what to expect from my end, folks. Y'all know about me doing live video productions and live video content. One of the big things that I will be talking about, okay, I'm just going to give my 4 P's away just to create your interest. The planning, the producing, the promoting, and then the last one is actually R, but I'm calling it purposing. Okay. So the 4 P's are very important. And that's why whenever people ask me the value of live video content or live content, like, how do you, plan it? How do you, produce it? How do you promote it? And how do you purpose it? And that's got to be my focus. And that's my tidbit. What to expect if you're an attendee. And I know we kind of talked a little bit about you being an attendee. Well, we are planning, right, Julie, to record this. Wink, wink. So for some of you who have been asking us, like, do you have a virtual ticket? We do not have a virtual ticket for the event. We weren't able to offer one just because, you know how it is at the hotels, the Wi-Fi really stinks. So we've made the decision to record the presentations and the sessions so we can actually offer this to those who miss the live event. That being said, I actually am excited to bring on our guest just because so a little bit about who she is. Julie, when I started my live broadcasting, right, I started on this platform. I don't know if people still remember it. It's called Google Hangouts. People go like, what's that? Well, Google Hangouts was really like about 4 or 5 years ago, before Periscope, before Facebook Live. It was really the first live streaming platform. And I started using it, and she was one of my co-hosts in one of my many shows. And I'm going to let her tell her story because when I first got her in, she said, why do you really want me on your shows? Because I'm an introvert. I don't know if I do well on camera. We hear this a lot, right, Julie, when we talk about live video?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, I'm going to bring her on right now, and let me see if I am going to have the right screen. Here we go. Yay! Good morning, Miss Kenya Halliburton. How are you?
I'm good. Can I unmute myself now?
Yep, you
Am I
are
good?
on. Yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Super excited to have you
Me
on
too.
the broadcast with us today. And for some of our viewers who are watching this, it's more for tips and also experience, experiencing the live video content world. Julie, I'm going to have Kenya talk a little bit about her introduction and That's a story about her fear of getting on camera on a live broadcast. So Kenya, if you would just do a quick intro of who you are, and then, I have one question for you.
I hope it's not about Google Hangouts.
She doesn't like Google Hangouts.
I know my eyes, when you mentioned that, my eyes just rolled like, I hated that platform. But I'm Kenya Halliburton. I am an online business choreographer at KenyaHalliburton.com, where I work with women entrepreneurs with big ambitions and complicated lives to marry all these crazy moving parts of their online business so they can set it up to free themselves to do more of what they love, live the life they want, and make the money they deserve. So that's me in a nutshell.
There you go. Boom. So before we got on just now, Kenya and Julie had this conversation, because was it you, Julie, or Kenya who came up with the conversation of imposter syndrome?
Julie jump started it.
All right.
Yeah.
Julie.
Yeah.
I'm going to, after asking this question to Kenya, I'm going to go back to you and have you talk a little bit about that. So Kenya, share with our viewers. So I had this conversation with Kenya. We had a 30 minutes call scheduled, but we ended up in a 3-hour conversation. And this is part of my notes with her. And one of my notes here, Kenya's fear of, so I don't know what I wrote here, but in a way, when we had this conversation behind the screen, Julie said it's what I call the imposter syndrome. So Kenya, would you share a little bit about that fear? Because you asked me that question, like, why would you want me as your co-host? Me and cameras don't work very well, and you hated the platform. So share us a little bit about that, because I think for all the audience who are watching this, or maybe you, a speaker or presenter out there, audiences who are thinking about attending the boot camp, you're wondering, like, I'm an expert. I'm good at this. I do speaking, but I'm not sure live video is for me because I'm an introvert. Let's talk about that, right? So Kenya, tell us your story.
Well, honestly, when I met you, Zeph, I wasn't doing any of the speaking, and I wasn't even stepping into my expert shoes. I was running from my calling. So, when you asked me to come on your show, I don't think I articulated this to you, but at the time I was like, I said yes because I was convicted. I understood my calling, and I understood when opportunities present themselves, you just kind of do it afraid. Mm-hmm. But I really didn't want to. And I really didn't understand. In my mind, I was like, what is she saying? Like, I hadn't built up what I thought that I needed to build up to be qualified to be on camera and telling anybody what to do. And so I really did feel like an imposter. Like, I'm going to get on camera and somebody's going to ask me a question and I'm not going to know it. And I'm going to be there. The world is going to know that I'm a fraud, that I don't know. Yeah. Yes. They're going to find me out. I've been lucky thus far. And the people that, admire me or listen to me, they're just being nice. And, all of those things were kind of running through my head, on top of the fact that I am an introvert. And honestly, I think it's a combination of things. I think for me, it was a combination of life stuff happening, and so for some people, it may not be as much of an issue, but for me, because I had a lot of stuff swirling in my life, I had low self-confidence, I was struggling with a lot of those things, so all of that played a role, and I couldn't understand. I was like, why does Zeph want me on her platform? Like, why does she would call me like, hey Zeph, hey Kenya, I'm not Zeph.
We know that.
Like, I'm morphing into a type of Zeph. But she would text me like, hey, you want to do this show with me, and like long term, like not like just pop on, like, I want you to be my partner in this. And I'm like, why does she keep tagging me to do these things? Plus you were on the Google Hangout platform, which I was like, I hate this.
We all like very much at that time. And Kenya was like so against, but I needed to use it, and I wanted to use it. So before I get back to that, and I'm going to give her a little bit of my testimonial a little bit later. You know what? She's geekier than I am. If y'all thought I'm a little geek, which I don't see that I'm a geek, but she's much geekier than I am. And she got really geeky. So, Julie, address this conversation about us imposter syndrome, just in case any of our audience out there, are thinking about live video and suddenly they're thinking exactly what Kenya is talking about right here. This huge fear, which I think lives inside our head because there's no action. So it kind of brews inside our head. So share with us a little bit about that.
So I know for me, I always use the word fraud. I felt like a fraud very early on in my career was in technology. I didn't major in business. I majored in communications and creative writing and so forth, but I was thrown into this beautiful business world and I loved it and I excelled at it. But what happened after that is when I was looking for work at this gap when I was in my late 20s, I didn't have the right degree. No one could check the box. My resume didn't say anything. And I really began to feel like all my experience was worthless because I didn't have this paper. And as I came through life, I met this wonderful woman, Allison Crow. She's out of Texas. And we started talking, and she was the one who kind of put the label of imposter syndrome to me because I kept saying I feel like a fraud. Mm-hmm. And as I decided then my life changed with divorce and so forth. And as I decided to write, because I am a writer at heart, and share more and more, it was so important for me to share the whole story and all of me to alleviate that fraud syndrome. So going live when, if I were to go live and sit here with my hair dry and a beautiful backdrop and all this stuff and deny the fact that my place is a disastrous mess because of my move and all, I haven't bought groceries in 3 weeks because of it. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this today. And so in order to be comfortable, I actually had to become more vulnerable and more real. And that's actually where my audience comes from because they know that we are all dealing with the same issues, whether it's in life or in business or with relationships and so forth. I actually I'm going to show you. So I'm in my bedroom because it's the only place I can be right now. And I'm going to show you a tiny little spin around.
I love when she does that.
Right there.
I do that a lot.
I have a dry erase thing on my wall and I write stuff on it. And there's one that is very relevant right now. This is from a conversation that I had once and I wrote it down to use it in another project. But it basically says, she smiled and told me she, quote, always gets what she wants. And then she went on to complain about her life. And I remember that conversation with this woman and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, you can't have it both ways. You are creating a fraud. You're creating this dichotomy of being empowered and I'm going to set my goal and I make my own reality. And at the exact same time being like, oh, this sucks. Everybody's doing this to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it becomes the fraud. Sometimes we make our own fraud. And even like for me with work, it's like the Cowardly Lion and the Wizard of Oz or whatever. I just needed a certificate of courage, like printed off myself, like a degree. I got a degree in bullshit. I've dealt with it all. I figured it out. I'm not homeless. Yes. And then I just went behind me. So it's like dealing with your fraud, however your crazy little psyche needs to play the game.
Yep.
And then keep it moving because nobody's got time to sit there. My post this morning about the nothing, I don't know if you saw it, Zeph. Man, I just had to keep physically moving, keep it moving. Because
that is oh my God, you just gave me goosies. Hashtag that, people, Zeph goosies. That is a huge conversation. So for all of you people who have been watching our shows, our broadcasts, and we talk a lot about this boot camp, and most people, you know how it is when we're thinking about should I go or not go, but you're really interested in learning about live content strategies for you as a speaker and presenter. So one of the challenges I hear from people, and we all know this in any aspect of our business, we have this like thing in our head and just trying to talk us out from it, right? And here Kenya, right, even though she has that in her head. So this is kudos to you for sticking in the game. I think the universe had bigger plans for you. Your process of learning was in a very specific way. And I think I was very happy to be, I don't know why certain days, Julie, she asked me like, why do you want me to have a show? I said, I don't know. I see something special, and I think I'm good at this. And she goes like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't see it. No, I said, I see it. I see it. And I know. And Kenya, you've told me that, I have this little gift. I'm not trying to, ring on my
It's
finger.
a big gift.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
gift
big
that I can see that sometimes we don't see in ourselves. I see in people. And I'm always tempted to just like encourage and empower and inspire. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. So that's what kind of happened with with Kenya. And I said, Kenya, you know what? You're good at this. And I mean, when I get her on and she feels like she's comfortable, I feel that she's comfortable on camera. Needless did I know that she was, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here until she had this conversation with me, but she was, you're thankful and that was your fear and you got over the fear by just doing action. Now she's doing live video, like she's using all these tools and she's learning. She's a content girl. So what I think you've done, Kenya, and I think this is testimony and kudos to you that you actually overcome your fear. Took the, whatever's in your head, hey, shut up, I'm going to do my thing, and took action. You were willing to learn because you knew it can somehow help you in your business, right? And that's what we're talking to all of you audience out there, your speaker and presenter. There's a huge value in live video. So one of the things that Kenya mentioned earlier about, what Julie was talking earlier about the imposter syndrome, but you stuck in the game. And now, because of that commitment and consistency, so the 2 C's, commitment and consistency of doing it, now you created your own process and system to create the live content that you needed for your business that actually you became more visible. You became an influencer. Have you met people who reached out to you and go like, I saw your broadcast and you don't even know them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Julie was saying about the same thing too.
Absolutely. It's been incredible the feedback you get. And I still have some of that. I still have I don't even know if this matter. I did a live stream once and I was in a funky mood. I was trying to pre-record something and it just wasn't working. Technology was blowing up on me. And I just decided to go live about whatever was happening and talk about it. Somebody was mowing the lawn outside. They couldn't hear me. The something was happening with everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And I was just visibly aggravated. And shortly after that, somebody messaged me immediately and was like, I need to talk to you. I just watched your live stream and it was amazing. And I was like, what was amazing? Did I even say anything of value? The lawnmower was going, stuff was going up. And she was like, I usually don't even watch things. I usually don't watch things that long. And, and there were audio issues initially. So, but she was hanging in there enough to get whatever, for me to work that out. And it ended up being a jewel for her. And I thought, wow. And it was only one person on there. I think other people popped on and popped off. But for me in that moment, I was like, this is why this is important, because even if one person gets something, that they need, some sort of jewel, some sort of moment that can transform them off of some randomness, then it's worth it to have those authentic moments. And
it's funny that you and Julie talked about that today, the imposter syndrome, and Julie showed her wall and you talk about, the lawnmower and stuff like that, where we go on a live broadcast and we think this is the expectation I talk about in my Wisdom Wednesdays. I talk about if you have expectations, you'll fail. So I actually, as you're talking, looking at the notes that I have, I'm going to read what I wrote. You said, being on the shows help you go through real life scenarios by coming on the show. Meaning you experience that, and this is what Julie talks about, being authentic.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah, that authenticity part is so important. I think part of my imposter syndrome thing was having this perception or expectation of what I should look like to other people. It came from, messages that I got growing up. I thought in my mind that I needed to be this polished corporate person, and that's not the world that I come from. I'm a girl from Detroit, girl next door. I don't speak as well as, I mean, I'm not, I am who I am. And I thought that that wasn't good enough. I thought that people wanted this certain kind of image, and trying to live up to that made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And then, but through the process, I think one of the things that made me be open to you, Zeph, was I had a conversation with a coach once. And this is really important if you're blessed to have somebody in your life that can see things in you that you don't see in yourself, and they're not trying to abuse you. But to have that is great. This coach I spoke to once, I was operating as an online business manager. I mean, that's kind of like my training, my background, and I was trying to go into that vein. And a group of us had gotten together to coach with this lady, and she asked me, why do you want to be an online business manager? And I started going through the lingo and why I felt like that was. And after I was done, and she was like, I don't see online business manager when you speak. I see speaker, author, coach. And I was like, who is she talking to?
This is the beauty. I think the people around us who work with us a lot will know what you're good at. At least for me, I think that's become a gift for me, where I naturally will pick up, and that becomes the energy that I know that I can work with Julie, I can work with Kenya, I can work with anybody else. To what you were just saying, your expectations here, I don't know if you all can see this, but my notes say right there, our problem expecting to be perfect. And that was your words, Kenya. And I think that is huge in our conversation today. So if you're a speaker and presenter and you're thinking about like, okay, how do I do this live video? I'm not sure I'm on camera. So Kenya's like the perfect poster child for that, for that issue. And because I think most of the time we're thinking we have to be perfect on camera. And Julie, you talk a lot about authenticity, and share a little bit about that for our audience a little bit today. From your own story, you'll have 8 your girls with you, and Kenya, you had so many stories on camera too.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
No, I think I have had an awakening of my own to the power of my own storytelling. I have so many stories, I don't even know what story you're talking about. But I will say that part of being and this is something that I've written about before. And I may have read it at one point too, I can't even recall, but when I was going through my divorce and my entire, what I call my midlife awakening, because everything just sort of became both brighter and horrible all at once, everybody said to me, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine, you're going to be fine, just pick up the pieces and keep it moving. And I remember being on the Merritt Parkway, which is a little highway here in Connecticut, thinking about this, hearing it over and over again. And it occurred to me, it occurred to me that I had been so lost in a depression, in a funk, and a whatever in my marriage and with my whole situation and other things that had gone on, that I actually no longer had pieces to pick up. The pieces that were my life were not mine. And that's where my struggle came from. My struggle came from everybody telling me, just pick up the pieces and keep moving. And I realized I don't even have any fucking pieces. I have nothing. I don't even know what or who I am. I can't pick out a nail polish color. I can't pick out dinner. I'm completely indecisive because I don't even know what I want.
Yes.
And then it was that complete recoil into myself and accept the mess that I had made and allowed to become of me, and then figure out and say, okay, this is why this is taking so damn long. I don't have any pieces. I need to make my pieces. And with that came a floodgate opening of a love and a talent for photography and a reimmersion into my writing and a comfort level of, screw this, I'm going to speak wherever they ask me to speak because you know what? I'm building my own pieces, and all of it came for me. And in that, a confidence and a strength and a voice that I hadn't heard. And it's funny, and I always say, people who knew me when I was married will tell you that I had a midlife crisis, nervous breakdown, whatever the hell happened, a turn blonde, whatever. People who knew me from high school and college will say, it's so nice to have you back.
Yeah.
Completely different experience. So the fraud feeling, it exists because you're not being you. once you find your voice and accept that your voice might be not what other people want it to be, but say it anyway, the fraud feeling starts to go away. And the authenticity of yourself is something that doesn't make your own skin crawl. You are so comfortable with whatever story you're supposed to tell or path you're supposed to take. And the other thing, just side note, because this was my other realization just last week, I love words. And I think as a society, we screw them up a lot in the definition, especially with social media and the quickness of writing. And I just want everyone to know that there's a million memes out there about enjoy the journey this, the journey that. And half the time I'm like, screw the journey, this journey sucks. And then I realized, journey does not equal quest. And like this weight came off of me and I'm like, oh, wait, I can journey without questing. I don't have to search for anything anymore. I'm not looking for anyone, anything, any place. It's like just a journey. And it felt a million times better. So it's like thinking of the words that are pounded into our head and then realizing, is that really what it means? Are we using the right words? And then just letting it like sink in. That's how I have come to find my authentic self again and sell. I'm a realtor by trade, if you will, build a business that I love and come back to coaching and speaking and find all of my pieces again.
Yeah. Just like Kenya, you were here, your client was saying you're not an online manager, business manager. You're a speaker, author in that kind of sense. So that in its sense, I just want to say thank you, first of all, from me and Julie for coming on board on the show and sharing your story. And for some of you folks who are watching this now, I just want to say thank you, Doreen and Jason Franco, for watching live. And Barb was here earlier. And if you're watching this on replay, and if you happen to be in the Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts area, and you're thinking like, yeah, but how is this relevant to the event, the boot camp? Why we brought Kenya on, because every one of us in the expert industry, speaker, presenter, because the boot camp is for speakers and presenters. We talk a lot about this because just like Kenya, she wasn't sure. She had this fear of coming on camera because she didn't know that she was actually built for this. But she needed someone to kind of put her in the direction or push her. Don't we all have that, right, Julie? Like sometimes our kids push us, right? Like, mommy, do this, do that, right? But we're not necessarily comfortable. The point is we may not necessarily comfortable, but if you're a speaker and presenter and you're looking to get more clients, get found, especially like if somebody who doesn't know you, but you want to share your value with them, this is one of the fastest way to get to your audience. So I just want to say, Kenya, thank you, first of all, for, saying yes to coming on the show, because I think everyone needed to find that relevant story that they probably are experiencing also, being an expert, feeling like an imposter, like, should I be on camera? I don't know. And Julie sharing, being authentic and real. Thank you for sharing that story, because I know, sometimes, okay, here's another part. Sometimes we expert feel like this is in our head, expecting to be perfect. Like, I shouldn't be telling this story on camera. That's old school, people. It's old school. People want to share your authenticity.
Yes. So, well, thank you. This has been fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice and I know you're talking about having...
Nice to finally meet you, too.
Having your voice as part of your brand. So can't wait for more broadcasts with those cute little faces. I know Julie started
going down this summer.
This will be phenomenal. We'll have Julie on camera and Kim on Kenya on one site. So that'll be awesome. So thank you so much, Kenya, and for all your wisdom and sharing for all with all our audience. We're gonna, after the show, hang around behind the scene after the show. And I and Julie just want to kind of wrap up a little bit to help you folks out there who are attending this Friday's boot camp, a little bit of expectations, because I know there's a few things that we just want to, share here. All right, Kenya, we'll talk to you in a bit. All right, folks, back with me and Julie here. So if you're in the Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York area, all right, so right here, Oh, I always put my on the right here. This is the link where you go. There's still time to register. We close registration May 10th. All right, which is this Thursday, end of Thursday. No more, because our event is Friday at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you have registered, thank you, and we're excited to have you. So just a little bit of knickknacks. If you're probably thinking this question, I'm going to put it up on the screen because I know some of you I'm not sure if I should be there. So this question, right? Do you find yourself asking this question? How do I use live content to get more clients? You should be there. If you're asking, do you simply not know what live content is and feel that the technology is too hard for you? Then you should be at this event. And then the last question, do you see your competition? This is Julie's words, and I love this. Do you see your competition using live video and nailing their on-screen messaging and think, I could never do that? And that was a conversation we had today, right? So if you have this question, then you should be there too. So this is our final episode, and we talked today about, what to expect on event day. And if you're an attendee, yes, feel free to bring your computer because I will be showing a little bit of how to set up your content and stuff like that. Neat stuff. And I'm sure some of you take notes on your computer. Anything else, Julie, that, you can think of they can expect for the event?
I would just say for my part, interaction.
Yes.
I am certainly not, I'm capable of giving a great lecture, but that is not my goal.
Yes.
I am not there to teach you about me because I am not you.
It won't be a boring presentation. No, get ready. We will. So one of the things is we will be having a hot seat. If you're wondering what that is, this is the biggest part. Julie and I are firm believers that it's not about just giving you data. It's about action. How do you implement? Because when you leave the sessions, we would ideally want you to kickstart whatever you want to do with live content in the next 30 days. You have everything set up. So we will have systems for you to take home with you and get into my 4 P's, which are plan, produce, promote, and purpose. All that. We will have that for you. So it's going to be action, exercises, and all that stuff. I don't think the 5 hours will actually, be enough, but this is the kind of boot camp training that we're bringing on Friday. So have a good night's sleep. And if you have any questions, you know where you can reach us. You can just put your comments or questions in this comment thread on this Facebook Live or on YouTube Live or also on Periscope. Just leave your comments there. I'll fish them out and reach out to you and answer your questions. All right. Other than that, have a good sleep, everybody, and we will see you right here. There's still time. May 10th, Thursday, 11:59 p.m. is the last, registration time. Other than that, let me see who else is here. Hi, Tim Gillette. We're actually getting ready to leave, but Doreen is here and she's attending Friday. She says, yes, thank you. Really good conversation. I know I will be learning some awesome stuff. You bet. And yes, implementing is key. This is where Julie and I noticed that we live in a society where we take a lot of information and we don't know what to do with that. That's what the boot camp is for, right, Julie?
Right, absolutely.
So we're going to let Julie go and pack, and I have a full day myself. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you on Friday and maybe somewhere on the online world. Be sure to follow Julie Avellino because she does a lot of broadcasts, fun broadcasts. And I'm here on Zevzana for Entrepreneurs at Facebook. See y'all. Bye.
Bye.
So here we go.